I think we're seeing a new sport develop. What was once a community of athletes creating crazy challenges, I think will develop into a full-blown sport. We've seen it with CrossFit, and we've seen how successful that became. Well, I love CrossFit. But are we seeing a new hybrid sport which is going to become the new phenomenon? In this video, I'll tell you how I define hybrid sports, and I'll also tell you what I think the hybrid games are going to look like. And if you like sports science content and content on training, make sure that you give the Progress Theory a subscribe. But before we get started, just a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, Human24 Hydrate. Hydrate is a fast and effective formula to replace the loss of body fluids and salts and improve hydration. It has been a game changer for me, taking it immediately upon waking and taking advantage of the sodium glucose co-transport system that helps fluids and electrolytes pass from your intestines to your bloodstream. It tastes great and sets me up perfectly for a full morning of work. Head to human24.com, that's HMN24.com, where you can get a month's supply of 30 sachets and use the code PHIL10 to get 10% off. So, what is hybrid? If you're watching this video, I'm guessing that you love hybrid sports. And you're probably also aware that many people define hybrid in their own way. What I've noticed is that a lot of people define hybrid as the combination of many different sports, or any sport that requires you to be both strong and fit. However, the issue that I have with this is that this will include any traditional sport, which many people just see as sport. So for example, rugby or the heptathlon. Sure, for these sports you need to train both strength and endurance, but you train these qualities to be good at the sports of rugby and heptathlon. Now to me, this is concurrent training. Concurrent training is the combination of strength and endurance training in order to try and improve yourself at a particular sport, which requires you to be both fit and strong. High rocks is an interesting one because it involves running, rowing and ski erg, so it's a combination of many different sports, and it also means that you need to be both strong and fit. But again, to me, you train these components to be better at high rocks. So you could classify high rocks as its own sport, similar to rugby and heptathlon. So if that's the case, what is a hybrid sport? Well, the definition I like to use is the one that was penned by Alex Viada back in 2013 when he started to combine powerlifting with running. Hybrid training was born out of trying to get better at both sports. And quite often, these sports are very different to each other and require very different physical qualities. So if a hybrid athlete could be someone that's training for two very distinct sports, it could be someone that is a powerlifter and also competes at running, or is a weightlifter but also competes at triathlon. And here's the key difference. You are trying to be competitive at both. Not training one aspect, say strength, to try and get better at the other aspect, say endurance. To me, this is a hybrid athlete. CrossFit, however, is a very unique version because it's its own sport and you train in gymnastics, rowing, weightlifting to get better at the sport of CrossFit. But you could have individual events in these sports within your own CrossFit competition. So you're training to improve in CrossFit, but at the same time, you're training to improve in individual sports as well, because they may come up in competition. So for example, you may get the marathon row. That particular event is an individual sport, and your training involves you to try and get better at the individual sport to get better at the sport of CrossFit. Anyways, for context for this video, I am sticking to the definition of a hybrid athlete that is someone that is training for two very distinct sports. And at the moment, this is clearly not its own sport. It's more like a community. Hybrid athletes are setting their own crazy challenges and are pushing the limits of human performance. Shout out to my mate Fergus Crawley, who recently did a 250 kilogram deadlift at the same week as a 250k ultra, and all his other achievements like doing a 1,200 pound powerlifting total in the same day as doing a sub 12 Ironman. Pretty crazy. More and more hybrid athletes are being creative with these same-day hybrid challenges and really pushing human performance limits. And if it gets even more popular, which I think it will evolve into its own sport. So, let's call this sport the hybrid games. So in this case, what do the hybrid games look like? So here in the UK, we have these big endurance events companies where throughout a whole weekend, they will have like their main race, which would be a Ironman distance triathlon, but at the same time they'll have a number of smaller events, normally around those particular events of a triathlon. So you might have a half Ironman, you might have a 10k run, half marathon run, a 3k swim. I'm making these up, but you see what I mean. It's like a festival of endurance. So with this festival, with all these different events, you can pick and choose which event you want to do. Now, what if we changed this and kept all the endurance events, but we also added strength events as well? And what you need to do is book one strength event and one endurance event. You'd actually combine the two. So you could be doing a powerlifting total at the same time as doing a 10K run. And that's your particular event, the combination of the two. And then once you get these categories, you can start getting hybrid athletes which start training for specific hybrid events. You may get one hybrid athlete that was a very good powerlifter, so focuses on powerlifting and running. Whereas you might have another powerlifter may prefer cycling, so then focuses their efforts on powerlifting and cycling. And what this will lead to will be specific hybrid competitions, which can then lead to hybrid leagues, all for specific hybrid challenges. And once the sport gets popular, you get regular athletes competing at these specific events and really start to push the boundary of human performance in these specific events. So we can start really easy and have a hybrid games which only has 5 specific hybrid challenges. That will lead to people picking and choosing which event they think they're best suited for, and then that will start pushing times and PBs, and more people will start to join in because they want to see how well they compete against all the other hybrid athletes. And once we get that established, then we can start branching out to more hybrid challenges and more people can get involved. And I really think this is a sport that could potentially grow very quickly. So what are your thoughts? Could we see the hybrid games? Will it be successful? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to know more about my ideas on hybrid training, make sure that you check out my book, The Science of Hybrid Training, which you can get on Amazon, and there'll be a link below. Right, go train, and I'll see you in the next video.